What a winner. What a winner that is. That's a great man. It's a great man. You know, our country doesn't win anymore. That's what we need right there, let me tell you. But I do have to tell you this story. So with, Bobby, so about a year ago, I got a call. I never knew Bobby. I knew of Bobby. He was great. I love watching him. I love that attitude, right? That attitude. And one of his friends is here today, a very good basketball player from the past. And he said, this guy, he would take a team that wasn't as good and they would just beat everybody and nobody understood it. But there was something special. But about a year ago, I got a call from Bobby Knight. I didn't know Bobby Knight. I said, wait a minute, the basketball man? The man that's the man in Indiana? And they said, yeah. So I get on the phone. We checked it out, and it was Bobby Knight. And he said, Donald, I just want to tell you, I want you to run. This was before I decided, before that big day on June 16th coming down the escalator. He said, I want you to run. My friends all want you to run, and you'll be great, and I'd like to endorse you. I said, Coach, what an honor that is, and do me a favor, give me a number, and maybe I'm going to be calling you back, right? And then we had all these great victories. I think I've won now 28 states where big night last night. We had a big night last night. We had five. We had 5 landslides actually last night. That was a biggie, right? So I said, thanks a lot, Coach. I appreciate it. I took the number. I wrote it down. I put it in a special place. And I said, let's see what I do. A few months later, I said, I'm going to run. Too much. I just couldn't take it anymore. I'm looking at these horrible deals made by politicians that are taken care of by their campaign. They're taken care of by special interests and lobbyists. And in some cases, they're incompetent, okay? And in some cases, they're outright stupid to be doing the deals they're doing. It's one of the 3. But I said, I'm going to run. And I said, let's see how we do. And I went and we started winning. We won New Hampshire in a big upset, won by a landslide. They're upsets, and yet we're winning all these landslides. And then we had no chance in South Carolina. We had no chance whatsoever in South Carolina, and we won in a landslide. And the evangelicals voted for Trump. And we went to the South, and we won. And we went to Nevada, and we won. We won Alabama and Arkansas, and we won Florida by 20 points. And every place we were winning. And now, about 2 weeks ago, it's getting ready, and you don't know how important you are, because we're just about ready to put it away, folks, okay? And Indiana, which is a special place, I have so many friends, the Hilberts, Tommy, Sue, and Steve are here someplace. They're unbelievable people, employed thousands and thousands of people over the years, great people. But I have so many friends from Indiana. So I said, it's amazing. It looks like Indiana is going to be really, really important. By this time, usually, by the time you get to Indiana, a race is decided. But we had 17 people. It's never been in the history of politics in this country. There's never been 17 before. And I always say, what do you mean I didn't get 50%? Like, with all these people, if I get 32% with 14 people left, that's like 90%. But anyway, so it came, and we're winning, and we had some great victories. Then we won New York 2 weeks ago with tremendous numbers in a landslide. And then we had last night. But about 3 weeks ago, I said, boy, this Indiana is turning out to be a very, very important place, as it should be, right? And I said to myself, and I speak to friends in Indiana, but I said to myself, and who would be the greatest endorsement in the history of Indiana? And I said, I have to find that phone number, right? And I went out, and I found the phone number right away. I knew exactly where it was. And I called up Coach Knight, Bobby. And I said, Coach, do you remember me, Donald Trump? He said, I remember you. I've been waiting for you to call. It's a cool cat. This is a cool cat. And he said, I've been waiting for you to call, and I'm ready. You just let me know whenever you want me. And I mean, this guy is terrific. This is a winner. He's a champ. He's been so great for Indiana. He loves Indiana. He loves Indiana. And to have his endorsement is just an honor, and I just want to give him a little special hand, because just special guy, folks. There aren't too many of them. I want to tell you, I know a lot about the world. There aren't too many of them. There are very few. And you certainly don't find them very often in politics, that I can tell you. You know, you've been seeing these crazy deals that they're making. They're like desperate. They make the deal where Cruz calls. He's losing badly. He's losing all over. In fact, Lion Ted, right? Lion Ted. He's an outright liar. Boy, you know, I watched him the other night. Now, I always start off, I say, we will repeal and replace Obamacare. We're going to cut Common Core. We're going to bring our education local. We're going to preserve our Second Amendment. You know, everything. Everybody knows. So I watched him the other night. Donald Trump absolutely loves Obamacare. I said, what? He's telling this to an audience. Believe me, folks, we're going to repeal it and replace it. Okay. Then he goes, he doesn't want to bring education local. He wants it coming out of Washington, D.C. I mean, the guy's going one after another after another. And, of course, then last night he called the rim a ring, so he doesn't know too much about the basketball world. But one after another. And, I mean, literally, he would take what I said and say the exact opposite. And I'm watching the screen. I said to my wife, that is a terrible thing. That is a terrible. And, you know, it was interesting when I was on the debate stage, because we had 11 debates that I was in, and won every single one of them according to Drudge and Time and all of these great places. And won every single one. But I was with my wife, and I'm watching his stuff. I can't watch him for long periods, you know. We will this, the flourish. I have such a headache. You get a headache watching this guy. Boy, it's terrible. But I said to my wife, it's terrible that he can get away with it, where he can say everything I said, exactly the opposite. And some people believe it. And I said, isn't that terrible? She said, nobody believes it, darling. Really, nobody believes it. They've heard your speech before. Believe me, they don't believe it. He even said, I'm not going to build the wall. Can you believe it? He said, he is not going to build the wall. Folks, we're going to build the wall. Believe me. Believe me. We're going to build that wall. We're going to build that wall, and you know who's going to pay for that wall? Not even a question of a doubt. You know, they called me over after a debate, some of the politicians, a few weeks ago, when we had some left. Now we're down to 2 stragglers. Let's be nice. 2 stragglers. They're straggling along. But they called me over, and they said, you know, 6 months ago, they said, Donald, you know you'd never be able to build a wall. I said, of course you can. You know, China, you know the story. A 13,000-mile wall 2,000 years ago. We have 2,000, of which you need 1 because you have a lot of natural barriers. And we're talking about $10 billion. And they owe us. If you look at the trade imbalance, just take a look at it. Not only with China, where it's $500 billion a year. We're going to end that, folks, very quickly, okay? But Mexico, with Mexico, we're talking about $58 billion a year, okay? I mean, on trade, $58 billion, right? They do better. They have the good side. We have the bad side. You know what that means. So they're doing very well. That doesn't include all the drugs that are being sent across the border and poisoning our youth. Now, I have respect for Mexico. I have respect for the Mexican leaders. I love the Mexican people. I'm leading in certain polls. You saw in Nevada, I was leading in the polls with Hispanics and the carrier, because say what you want, Indiana. I've been talking about carrier now for 4 months, right? Before I even knew that we were going to be coming. I mean, literally from the day. So with all of the things that are going on, and with everything that we're seeing, and with all of the people that we've seen, There's nobody that's going to be able to do what we're going to do together as a movement. We have a movement going on. Nobody has seen anything like it. And when I can get somebody like Coach Knight, and when we get other people, we have tremendous people supporting us. You know Jeff Sessions. Okay, now, when Cruz gets up, he always talks about, he doesn't anymore because about 4 weeks ago he endorsed me, so he's not talking. But the man he most respects in the United States Senate is a great man, Senator Jeff Sessions from Alabama. And he came out and endorsed Donald Trump. And I don't believe he's ever endorsed a presidential candidate before. And Dr. Ben Carson has been phenomenal. And Chris Christie. And Sarah Palin. And Jerry Falwell, Jr. of Liberty University is the job he's done. We have such unbelievable support, and no matter where we go. But what happens, and I watch as these horrible stories are being told by even, I mean, you look, I don't like the way that Kasich eats, okay? But that's okay. But I don't like the way that Cruz talks. And then they outsmarted themselves. They went out, don't forget, Kasich, he raised his hand and voted for NAFTA. Perhaps the single worst deal economically made in the history of this country. It emptied our country of jobs. Our manufacturing jobs are a disaster. And in this area, you see what's happened to your manufacturing. You're down 40%. Everybody's down. All over the country. I just left New York State, down. I just left Pennsylvania. I left Connecticut. I left Maryland. Everybody down. NAFTA, a disaster. Signed, by the way, by Bill Clinton, just so you understand. One of the great disasters. So what Cruz did is he was losing and losing badly. He was losing so badly the New York thing was a great embarrassment. And you know, it's interesting. The weekend that we had, you had Utah and you had Arizona that same weekend. By the way, speaking of great endorsements, Jan Brewer, great, the governor. And great, she's been so great. And how about Joe Arpaio? How good is he? Sheriff Joe. The toughest man, and the fair, I mean, he's fair. But he is tough on the border, right? So Cruz, when they did this little marriage of the two of them, boy, did that backfire, right? What a disaster. And then on top of it, Kasich comes out and says, well, I'm going to continue. I want them to vote for me. What a disaster. So they were embarrassed. They're getting terrible press. And what it is an act. It's collusion. It's an act of desperation. But, you know, in business, when you collude, they put you in jail. Politics is such a rigged deal that it's probably one of the few places that you can collude and get away with it. But they went out and they collude, and it has been catastrophic. And I can only tell you, my people, I have the best people in Indiana working for us, wanting to make sure, because what Bobby said is true. If we win Indiana, it's over. It's over. And I can only promise you, it's over. And they have these phony groups, you know, no Trump or never Trump or whatever. And they were all up. They follow me. I mean, these people are terrible. And I mean, and by the way, you notice they're getting smaller and smaller. They spent in Florida, they had 15,000 ads, negative. And they weren't true. Some had a little truth to them, but most of them, a little bit. But 15,000. I've had 55,000 negative ads. And a guy like, as an example, Kasich, he says, well, I do very well. And by the way, we had a poll yesterday with Hillary Clinton where now we're even. I haven't even started on her. We haven't even started. We haven't started. You know, it's sort of funny. It's like Bobby knows how to win and some people, I know how to win. And, you know, I start off with 17 people, and they're governors, and they're senators, and they're people like, as an example, Dr. Ben Carson, highly, highly competent, smart, great, wonderful man, but smart. But I start off with 17 people, and I knock off a senator who was going to win. I knock off a governor who was going to win. Then a senator, then a governor, then a governor, then a senator. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then Bobby jokes about presidential. I'm a little afraid to be too presidential because maybe we'll stop winning. We have to win. So now we're down to the end. We're down to the end, and we are just doing. We have something that's never happened, they say, in the history of our country. We have a movement going, just like all of these people. Look at that, all the way up top. Just like all of the people, no matter where we go. Pennsylvania, we had a crowd in Pennsylvania. It was unbelievable. We turned down, we had 25,000 people, and 10,000 people couldn't get in. It's crazy. It's wild. And you know what? We're looking for the answer. The answer is we're not going to let the world take advantage of us anymore. We're not going to let our very incompetent politicians take advantage of us anymore. We're not going to do it. So these guys formed the group, and they formed the, little deal, and it turns out to be a disaster. I get a call at 11:30 2 nights ago, and one of my people, great person, says to me, Mr. Trump, bad news. What? Cruz and Kasich just formed like an alliance where Kasich promises never to step foot in the state of Indiana, has to stay out. I said, what about all the people that have been working for him? He's got workers like I have. We all have work. That's not very fair to them. By the way, they're out there striking now. They're very angry. They say, what happened? That's a politician. Number one, they can't make a deal. Number two, they can't keep a deal. And number three, they treat their people very badly. They don't get it. But what happened is they make this deal, and I said to the guy, I said, they want a response, the press. I said, let's do it. So at 11:30 in the evening, I'm typing up a press release. I'm giving this little dictation, and we put out a press release. And I said, after about 2 seconds of thinking, I said, I think that's a really bad idea that they're doing this, because it shows total weakness. They're admitting that they're done. They're done. By the way, neither of them have a path to victory. There is no path. And we're going to win, as you know. You read all this stuff from the world's most dishonest people right back there, the media. They are so dishonest. They are so bad. But you read all this stuff about, Cruz trying to get delegates. He's getting delegates in the second, third, fourth, fifth round. It's never going to get there, folks. Let him work. They're taking the people for dinner. They're putting them in hotels. They're taking them for rides around town. They're putting them on boats. Let's take a tour of the rivers. I got to tell you, it's disgusting. You can bribe your way into the presidency. I don't want to do that. And nobody has better toys than me. Believe me, if I want to do it, nobody can compete. It's just so wrong. It's so wrong to do it. But they're talking about second, third, fourth. We're not going to get there. We're on the first round. And especially, by the way, after last night, because last night we said if we get 75 delegates, we'll be happy. Well, we got, I think, 109, and we got 109. We wiped the slate, and actually, and more to come, and more to come. It's a rigged system. And I tell the story, and you people like it because Indiana loves its sports. But it's a rigged system, and it's like the prize fighters. And I know Mike Tyson endorsed me. I love it. He sent out a tweet. Mike, Iron Mike. All the tough guys endorsed me. I like that, okay? But Mike said, I love Trump. I endorse Trump. And that's the end. I'm sure he doesn't know about your economic situation in Indiana. It's okay. But Mike, everybody. And I like it. When I get endorsed by the tough ones, I like it. Because you know what? We need toughness now. We need toughness. Hillary Clinton said recently, I don't like Donald Trump's tone. Look, they're chopping off heads of Christians in the Middle East. And anybody else that gets in their way, by the way. And we will rebuild. We will have, when I finish, the strongest, most powerful military anywhere in the world. And very quickly, we will knock the hell out of ISIS. Believe me, we're going to get rid of them. We're going to get rid of them. So, So anyway, just because I find this stuff so interesting. You know, I've been a politician now for 9 months. Hey, Bill O'Reilly, good guy. Tough. He's tough. Every time I go on, I leave, I have a headache, okay? But he's tough and he's smart. And the other night he's talking to somebody, and the somebody said, whatever. And Bill said, in my lifetime, Donald Trump is the single greatest and biggest political event I have ever witnessed. Right? That's big. The greatest political event. And I said, really? I was very impressed. And then Brit Hume, who he was talking to, who hates me. This guy, brutal. I mean, he's brutal. So many of them do. But, you know, a lot of them are coming around now. Do you notice? They're coming around. But Brit Hume said essentially the same thing. One of the greatest political events they've ever witnessed. One of the greatest political events in history. And it's not me, folks. I'm the messenger. You're the political event. You are. And every place like you. Every single place like you. You know, no matter where we go, whether we go to Dallas, no matter where we go, we have thousands and thousands. In Dallas, we had 21,000 people. In Alabama, we had 35,000 people. Think of this. I won Alabama in a landslide, almost 50%. And almost the same weekend, I won Massachusetts with almost 50%. And people said, that's amazing. And don't forget, there are a lot of people in the race. So when you say almost 50%, that's a lot. But it's been an amazing thing. And it's been on the cover of Time magazine many times. It's been the cover of many other magazines. It's been on the cover of all the newspapers. They don't know what to do with us, folks, because we're sick and tired of being run by people that truly have not a clue in the world what the hell they're doing. And we're going to change it, and we're going to change it fast.